Now, there are many dodges involved in dealing with reeds, and I don't want to baffle you with science at this stage in your career. We just want to learn some basic tenets of the reed handling business, as it were, and try and take them on board and make sure that you're comfortable with the pipe, and at least you begin to be able to play the instrument, and you'll never be stuck if you're on your own. You won't have to wait till you go to your band practice a week later to get somebody else to help you. But one little trick I would like to point out to you is that if you ever get a high A which is unclear, in other words, it's a very foggy sound, it's that crow sound that I heard you heard earlier when I blew the reed on its own, you can just rub the sandpaper very gently across the top of the reed, and that will clear the crow so that you get a nice clear note on the top hand, on the high A. You hear how that reed has flattened off again. I'm just going to give it another good squeeze. Hear how much easier it was there, and it's still flat in the top hand, so I'm screwing it further into the reed seat to shorten the tube and therefore bring the pitch up. You hear the difference in the note there. But remember, if you ever get an unclear high A little rub with the sandpaper across the top of the reed, across the two blades at the top. Be careful not to take the corners off though, and that should clear the crow in the high A, as we call it. So that's one small tip that you might like to use later on. Now, what do we do if we have a note on the chanter which is quite clearly very sharp? We simply flatten it with some tape, and we place the tape over at the top of the hole, wrap it round. If it's a high G, as it is in this case, make sure it doesn't impede the high A hole at the back. So there you can see we have half covered the hole in tape, and I'll let you hear it now. So you can hear how that small piece of tape brought the chanter into playing condition. One thing we must bear in mind though is that when we tape a hole, we reduce the volume that hole produces. So use tape sparingly. If you find that you've got tape on every note in the chanter, there's something far wrong, and you must change the reed or alter and adjust the reed. Tape should only be used for fine tuning. A small piece on a number of holes is perfectly alright and perfectly understandable. Every reed is different, chanters change with time, and most of the professional pipers today will be playing with some tape on their chanter. But the less tape you have, the better you have the chanter set up. But always remember that it's how it sounds that's important, not how much tape that you use. But you will kill some of your volume by covering the hole. But with this chanter, as the reed slackens off, I would probably be able to remove that tape and therefore get full volume from my high G. But for now, when I'm blowing it in, I would keep that there so that it's bearable to listen to. So what do we do if we've blown in the reed? We have the chanter, the odd note with a bit of tape on it, but we've still got one or two notes which are flat, too low pitch for the scale we're playing at. And despite everything that we do with the reed, changing different reeds, it still sounds flat and not in tune with the drones. The only thing we can do is to take out some of the wood at the back of the hole. And if you look at your diagram in the book, you'll see exactly what I mean. But under no circumstances must you attempt this at an early stage in your career. Try to get an expert to do it for you, because you might ruin the chanter for all time. And you must try every other alternative before you take the drastic step of actually changing the wood in the chanter. It's a last resort.